Krāv is a podcast of 4 intrinsically dope Black women who through our life's journeys have some eclectic stories to tell.
Their stories of struggle and strength, beauty and ashes, failures and flourishings.
Our mission is to educate, entertain, and enlighten you through tales of our personal missteps and triumphs, our research and education, and the quirks and perks of our individual personalities as they come together to create a dynamic sister circle.
We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy as we bring you the conversations you want and the edutainment you need.
Welcome to Krāv.
What do you think when you hear someone say they have a strong mind, and what does that even mean?
I can give you an example. I feel when someone let's say somebody who has cancer and they're like, no, this ain't taking me out. Whatever I got to do to fight it and get over it, that's what I'm going to do. So that's a strong mind to me.
When I think about mental strength, I'm looking for example, being in the military, going through boot camp, you have to have a certain type of mental strength to get through it. And they always tell you mind over matter. So that's what I think of.
I feel like that's the same thing. What, mind over matter is bullshit?
But it's true.
Mind over matter?
I don't believe it is. But go ahead.
I'm interested in knowing why you don't.
Because the mind creates matter. So that's why I think it's bullshit.
I think from growing and learning and reading,
correct.
Yes, that's where my mind has switched to now. It's not. But at that moment in boot camp, you're thinking, oh, you're right.
All right. So, but what you're saying is you're agreeing that
I am agreeing.
It's a phase. It's a thing that people do to help you get through
exactly
whatever the thing is.
Trying to get
right.
And I don't know. I still think it is mind over matter. Like if I am trying to run a mile, like my body's going to do whatever my mind tells it to. Like my body can physically do this. It's my mind that's like, I'd rather Netflix it.
But your body tells your mind what to do, which in turn makes your mind think that's
exactly
what it's going to do.
That part I don't agree with. I will say that because coming from a standpoint of somebody that actively and consistently fasts or consistently jogs, right? Your body is going to tell you stop doing these things long before your body is going to tell you to stop doing these things because physically it's hard. I cannot physically just drop down and do 20 push-ups right now, right?
I don't agree with the body at all telling the mind what to do.
Yeah, no.
That's why I'm saying it's mind over matter, because my mind is telling my body what to do.
Correct. So for me, mind over matter is bullshit because you can switch your mind. You can't switch your body. You can't turn your body off.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like my matter is my body.
Okay.
So my mind is stronger than my matter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess what I'm saying is mind over matter is what's created in the mind is what will be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we are saying the same thing.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Looking at that, do you consider yourself to have a strong mind?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? Can you?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes
I will say for me, these last couple of months, my mind has not been what it can be, what it has been, what it used to be. Well, but I think that that is situational, like based off of what's been going on. I think a lot of my thoughts have been not the whole time, but a lot of my thoughts have been like trying to figure out how to get out of a situation, right? Or why I attracted certain things to me. So then it kind of takes this negative spiral downward. My mind has definitely been healthier than it has been recently, as of late.
This is awesome. What's the definition? What's the definition of mental strength?
The definition of mental strength, there wasn't any clear-cut definition. They took it, a lot of the research that I did took it from the standpoint of these are the things you do, or these are things that people do that have strong minds. You know, they don't necessarily wallow in their problems, or they think of ways to creatively get out of a problem, or they practice, meditation or practice being grateful. There was no clear-cut definition for what it meant to have a strong mind.
So if there's no definition,
where are we going?
Yeah, how can one say a mind is strong or not? So then what's the definition of mental health?
Mental health?
Mm-hmm. If we're doing mental health versus mental strength, there has to be
something defining both.
Yeah, there has to be something that separates the two from each other.
Mental health includes our emotional, physical, And social well-being, it affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood, adolescence, to adulthood.
Yeah, I looked up the definitions too on the WHO, American Psychological Association, and mentalhealth.gov. And it all talked about emotional, psychological, and social well-being, not just your mind. So then when we're talking mental health, by your definition or by what you're saying, Black people seeing black people getting murdered every day because it's the norm. According to these definitions, we should be mentally healthy, and we're not.
Yeah, no, that's also
By this definition, by every definition that I looked up, it says able to handle normal. They've made killing Black men normal. It's normal. It happens every day. So we should be in good mental health.
But then you have to take into consideration dealing with like PTSD. And that's what we have. That's so not
essentially
normal.
Nobody is in good mental health.
I think that a lot of people are not. I don't believe that people are addressing it. It's not something that, we sit down and have discussions about just on a regular. What's your mental health? How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing mentally? Unless you have, just like the post that we put on our Instagram page about, and then the gentleman somebody reached out and was talking about they didn't have someone to have these discussions with in terms of where they were mentally and emotionally. Do you remember that?
I do, but it finds out he had people. I think he just wanted an outside source. He said, I don't have anyone except my family and a couple of friends. So he did have people. I think he was looking for something
different,
more. Yeah. Different, wanted a different approach, wanted a different answer.
Perspective to it.
Yeah, or something.
But to touch on what you were saying about Black and brown people being killed every day, and that's supposed to be that's our normal, right?
At this point,
I think that goes also under societal well-being, right? And how societal well-being is the ability to participate, feel valued as a member of, and feel connected to a wider social environment, which is your local community, your environment, people around you.
So then I'm begged to know the difference between how can one be mentally healthy or not be mentally healthy, but then still be considered mentally strong? Or how can somebody be not mentally strong, but still be considered mentally healthy? Like how, I at this point in this juncture right now, the conversation, I don't see the difference.
Yeah, I think that being mentally healthy, you can have a clear way of managing all of those aspects, managing your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, all of that factoring into being mentally healthy, but then being mentally strong as situations come up. You may have moments where you aren't able to deal with those things. That doesn't mean your overall mental health is off. It just means that like, for instance, I think that I'm an emotionally healthy person, mentally healthy. I don't have any mental issues. There aren't anything that I'm dealing with just on my own, but adding certain factors in, like, just a bunch of crap that's just life, well, like I said, like I referenced earlier, this last couple of months, those things have me question my mental strength. There's some days where I'm like, I don't feel like getting out of bed.
Well, see, according to WHO, the definition, it says realizes his or own abilities, can cope with normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make contribution to his or her community.
It's
so
the normal stresses of life.
What's abnormal?
Well, that's subjective. What might be normal?
So then, right, by this definition, then it's abnormal to you. You're not mentally healthy. If it's abnormal to you, but it's normal to me, I could say then you're not mentally healthy.
No, you couldn't, because you would be basing that off of your own personal.
And you're basing your health off of your own personal.
Right. So I can say that for myself, where I'm at right now.
Okay.
But I don't believe that it would be fair to say, what is normal and what is acceptable for me. I can then project that on the next person and say, well, since they're not able to cope with this, then they're not mentally strong or they're not mentally healthy. Because it's a lot of stuff that I can handle, and it's some things that I'm figuring out that I can't.
I don't know. I'm struggling.
Yeah, I'm over there with you, Brazen. I'm not feeling mentally strong in this topic, but I did try to think of it like maybe physically, like maybe if you're, let's say, plant-based, don't drink or smoke or anything like that. Physically, I guess you're healthy, but you could still not be strong, not be able to lift heavy things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also be a strong person where you can lift all these heavy things because you lift weights or whatever. You know, you condition your body to be strong like that. But what if you smoke and drink and, you know,
Or just have
eat
underlying
McDonald's
health
every day?
conditions.
Right. So I guess,
Yeah,
I'm trying to separate it that
and
way.
I tried that too, but it just still didn't click for me, right? Because psychology today compared the two. They were like, okay, consider mental strength to physical strength. Somebody who is fighting cancer isn't physically strong, but somebody who goes to the gym gym every day and lift weights and eats could be physically strong. But how does that play into the mind is what is not, I'm not grasping. Because to me, if my mental health isn't up to par,
you're not going to
my
be
mental
strong.
strength ain't either.
Right.
Like,
I don't see a separation
I
because
can't
I feel
find
like they
it.
intertwine.
Yeah,
They are.
Right. Like if I am depressed, that's a mental illness, right? Depression is an illness. For some people, it's major and it's major. They struggle with it and need, medications or whatever. I have bouts of depression. But so is it to say I'm mentally stronger than somebody who can't get over their depression on their own? They need drugs.
No.
Does that make me stronger than them? When I am depressed and I'm feeling depressed, I'm having those moments, my mental health is shot.
Right.
But so is my mental strength because there's no determination. There's no will. There's none of that. I don't want to do B, C, involve. So to me, when my mental health is being challenged or I'm being pushed in that way, my mental strength is gone too. So I'm just trying to grasp the difference.
I was reading an article in the Global Wellness Institute, and something that popped out the most to me, they just simply asked the question, what is mental wellness? It says mental wellness is an internal resource that helps us think, feel, connect, and function. It is an active process that helps us build resilience, grow, and flourish. This definition characterizes mental wellness as a dynamic, renewable, and positive resource, and as an active process that requires innovative and conscious action. It recognizes mental wellness as an internal experience that encompasses multiple dimensions. With that, I definitely believe, because again, you can be very mentally strong. You can be mentally healthy rather, and then have a situation come up where it's beyond your control, right? And now you have the things that you have done to tackle problems in the past aren't working. Or just like, for instance, your body gets sick and you have something that you can't work out on your own by fasting or by cleaning up your diet or by exercising, where you would actually have to go to the doctor and get some help. I think that's, if we look at it in the same way, it's easier for me to understand in that way, because if you can't, function, or if you can't tackle these problems on your own, getting help, talking to a talk therapist to kind of help you realign. Talk therapy doesn't necessarily have to be a lifelong thing. It could be situational. Once you've worked through it, and now you're back on track, because it is, renewable per situation. For me, it could be different for somebody else, but for me, it's like, okay, I know how to manage this. It's something that I do on a daily basis, or it's something that I've had to deal with for this amount of time. And this is how I manage it. It's structured. I make sure and that helps me keep my mental strength in check.
So talk therapy for me is for my mental health, not my strength.
Right.
But in that, I guess I get mentally stronger. So mental wellness then encompasses both, not one or the other.
Right. Let me tell you where we're struggling, Yaya. I think if we were to draw a line on a piece of paper and write mental strength on one side and mental health on the other, we can't figure out what goes in each category without just writing it straight down the middle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mental health, mental strength. There were 3 things on the health side and 2 on the strength side. And strength talked about gratitude, determination. Words like that is what it listed, coping. But they were synonymous with stuff on the health side as well. So I guess that it goes back to my point, or, further proves that it's difficult to have one, to not have one and have the other.
And so with that being said, I just kind of feel like there should be maybe a topic shift in a way. Like maybe we should be discussing what affects your mental wellness, just as a whole, and how to fix that.
Do you think that your quality of life can be part of it?
What?
In terms of what degree as an individual does that help your mental health?
Absolutely. I mean, quality of life is everything. If I am struggling to pay bills and, all of that, I'm not in a good space.
Ain't mentally strong or healthy. Because I'm financially broke. The fuck?
Nor am I physically healthy because I can't afford what I really need to be eating.
Right. So it's interesting that you brought that up. I don't know who brought it up. Rain or Kenya. I was scrolling through Instagram and I follow a lot of conscious parenting pages. Y'all know I'm on this. I feel like we all are on this conscious parenting journey, and it spoke about how it is easier to be a conscious parent when you are privileged.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that plays a major role into our mental. It gave this example. You give your kid a bowl of cereal and they goofing around and they spill it. If you broke and you don't have more money to buy cereal, you're going to respond in a way. Yeah, you're going to be triggered. And so you're going to respond in a way because you're struggling financially and it is taking a mental strain. But if you are privileged and you can buy more cereal, you're just going to clean up the mess and pour another bowl of cereal and go on with your life. And so you respond differently because of where you are financially. But because where you are financially affects you mentally, depending on what situation you're in, it depends on how you respond. I think that societal, what did you say, girl? Whatever
norms,
you said,
societal health
plays a major role in that. Like not raising my voice or, getting ready to put my hands on my kid. My financial situation plays a major role in that.
Absolutely. Not to mention the fact, like I was reading posts about the Black girl who had a night nurse or something like that. And people were all up in arms because she hired somebody to come in at night to watch the baby so that she could get sleep and be a better parent. Mm-hmm. That's going back to what you're saying. If you're in a financial position to do that, you're in a much different space headwise than the person who's waking up all night.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And staying up all day to deal with these, children.
Sleep deprivation.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. What?
It's torture for a reason.
What?
I have seen.
She looking at me, but
I go to bed at 8:30 every night.
Everybody ain't able.
Yeah, everybody ain't able, but I'm not playing when it comes to my sleep because I understand myself. And I understand that I get very, very funky acting whenever
you understand your mental health.
Yes. And I manage that aspect of my life very, very well.
Yeah, I understand mine too. And I can't manage it. Getting home at 2, the baby wake up at 3, the next one wake up at 4, then it's time to roll at 7. There's no managing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. It is back to what you said, she's phrasing. That is a privilege. It's definitely not something that I've been afforded for a long time, but I'm taking full advantage of it now.
And you should.
Yeah, it's necessary for me.
You have self-sufficient human beings. You don't want to go to sleep? That's fine. I'm going to bed.
Stay right here.
You still getting up at 5:30 tomorrow morning. Go ahead, play, act like you
play yourself if you want to.
Right.
So I was reading on the American Academy of Pediatrics, and they said the pandemic has struck at the safety and stability of families. More than 140,000 children in the United States lost primarily and secondary caregiver, with youth of color impacted.
Wait, they lost what?
What?
What is pomerity?
She was hoping you'd tell her.
Primarily, sorry.
Okay.
English is my third language.
It's okay. That's what's up.
She capping.
I was like, they lost school.
So can we start back?
Find them right now. 140,000 children.
Primarity?
Go get it.
Go. I never had it.
Get it right now.
I never had primarity.
Well, that's why you are struggling.
That's what's wrong with your mental strength.
That's what's wrong with it.
There.
You ain't got primarity. Somebody go get her.
I think it's a prescription.
Them days.
Shit.
Go pick it up. Ointment. Go pick it up.
Can we start back at the what? At the.
Oh my God.
Can we start back at the beginning of the quote again? I'm sorry.
Primarity. I need that.
Let's make a commercial for primarity.
Did you lose primarity during COVID? Well, guess what?
You are not alone.
And we're going to help you get it back. We don't know what that hoe is, but we going to find it.
She over there with
El Dante.
Primarily for the streets.
Oh, gosh. Oh my God.
Can we start back at the beginning of the quote again?
What you said, girl?
Ooh, should have been a
Stand by the Porsche.
basically.
People were sad during COVID.
So it's talking about basically, guys, people with children, and saying that a lot of children are dealing with high risk depressions, anxiety, trauma, loneliness, suicidal thoughts due to the pandemic.
Absolutely.
So how are you guys
Absolutely.
maneuvering?
So you have to understand these children were, some of these children were at home just completely isolated, period. Like the single child was, I believe, unless they had some type of skills before going into the pandemic, they were sitting at home by themselves, distance learning, not having any type of social connections with people outside of the time that they were sitting in front of a computer dealing with their teacher. And there really wasn't any classroom interaction or anything like that. So there's a little girl in our neighborhood who was homeschooled prior to, and then she moved districts. So they came from out of state, and then they're in the same district, that I live in. And her mother and I were talking, and she was saying, it's not that hard for her because she has been homeschooled before. So she's used to being, home by herself and staying on track. There are some children that didn't have that luxury prior to that. School was their only outlet. They went to school to get away from nonsense at home. They went to school to interact with other children, and that was ripped right from underneath their feet for almost 2 years.
Well, I don't think you can take away the fact that children are struggling with all of those things without considering also what the parents.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like emotional well-being and emotional health is it's a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the moms who were in domestic violence relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so the kids aren't escaping what is happening to her. She's not escaping because the whole world is shut down, and she can't call and get help because now she's stuck in the house with him every single goddamn day.
Or he's getting beat up as well.
Oh, right. I'm not taking away from that either. So I think a lot plays into what children are dealing with, but also you have to have social interaction. Like it's a developmental thing at this point. Not at this point. It's always been that. Like developmentally, if you're not socially interacting with people, it happens to us as adults. So kids aren't exempt.
So as parents, how do you guys navigate through their mental?
Fortunately for me, I have small children, and as long as I have got snacks and blocks, they don't care.
Snack box and
pans,
spray bottles, sand, Legos,
cardboard box,
what swords,
combs,
swords,
and brushes,
and swords. Lots and lots of swords. We good. Lightsabers, like what?
Dinosaurs.
I can all the whites.
Yeah, I have been right. I have been extremely blessed in that sense because my child isn't even school age yet. So that hasn't been much for me to navigate through with him. It's been more so navigating for myself and making time for me and, having girl time, having away time, having mommy time so that emotionally I wasn't passing down unhealthy habits.
Right.
I think before maybe like mid-year last year, for me, I felt like as a whole, we were doing more. Even in the midst of the pandemic, we still did stuff together. And that's what helped me get through a lot. I don't know what happened. I think just life. And then, we all got busy and, blah, 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 whatever. But I do see that there's a difference. Now, touching on that, because you do have to take time for yourself. You do have to do things for yourself aside from your children. No, we were doing more as a group. Did we go on any trips?
We went on a couple.
Yeah, we did.
During the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
went to San Diego.
Was that?
That's when your booty didn't get tan.
Girl, 2 years. 2 years.
We're going to talk about this on every episode ever.
It was the 2-year tan marks.
So on last season...
Yeah, booty was light and it's still light.
No, it's changed now.
To what?
I don't know. It's not. It's all the same color now.
Oh, okay.
It is all the same color now.
Ain't nothing another trip to San Diego won't fix. And we can go to breakfast, bitch.
And I can drink because I ain't going to be pregnant.
Ooh, look at that.
Look at that.
Look at God. Won't do it.
Childbirth.
Yeah, there were things that we were doing actively during the pandemic that definitely helped with my mental, emotional, and my spiritual health that I know added to the well-being of all of that. And I appreciate that because even though I didn't have, like, my social life is like non-existent outside of what.
So I'm agreeing.
Yeah, my social life is pretty.
Outside of
Okay, because I be watching Alpha Blocks all day.
What is that?
If I hear
You don't want to know.
jet speed, one more time, I slipped.
And the sad part is I walk around like, you know how you hear a song in your head and you're just dancing? I mean, people be like, what you dancing to? I don't even want to tell them. I'm over here in Gracie's corner talking about
Grace.
A, B.
Gracie's corner with a A, B.
You can do it. You can do it.
Oh, wow.
You can do it.
Oh, yeah, that's not what's going on in my head at all.
Yeah.
I do have to say, we're blessed with our jobs, so we are able to,
Just leave.
lead.
During every full-length episode, we make it a point to highlight a Black-owned business free of charge. This is just one of the ways that the ladies of Krāv have chosen to give back as we make an effort to generate Black dollars and keep them in the Black community. This week's Black-owned business highlight is Trill Taco. They can be reached on Instagram at Trill Taco 713. They have tacos and daiquiris to go, both of which are really good. They are located at 2887 Dulles Avenue in Missouri City, Texas. Their business hours are 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and they are also open 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday through Saturday. Please check them out. Very good tacos, very good daiquiris.
I want to know what's been going on personally with y'all that is most messed with your mental health and strength.
We don't have enough time. Their time is not, we don't have enough of it to sit. So for me, I'm going to have to
You gonna pass on that one?
pass on that question until last so that I can figure out
One
squeeze
thing.
it all
One
how to
thing.
squeeze it into a nutshell.
Brazen. What you got?
Honestly, y'all, I'm in a beautiful space.
Praise him.
And it's been a very, very, very long time since I've experienced like this. I mean, just calmness inside, outside, all around me. Like prior to this space, right? I thrived off of other people's drama. Honestly, it helped me not focus on
What's
myself if I was focused on how to help everybody else. That's not a factor anymore. I really don't care at this point. I had a moment, was it 2-3 weeks ago? Ooh, child. And I'm not at privilege to talk about it on air yet because I don't want to offend anyone.
Who would be offended by something?
I don't want to offend anyone.
Oh, okay. I'm just interested. Go ahead. I didn't know if you were talking about the four of us or the three.
No, ma'am.
Okay, good.
I don't care about y'all.
Okay.
She care about me. I don't know about y'all.
Anyway, I had a moment 2 or 3 weeks ago where I was super, super sexually frustrated. Ain't nothing happened. I still,
Did you just change the channel?
still ain't had no sex. Yep. No.
That's what's up.
It'll happen when it's supposed to happen, I guess. Oh, but baby, when it does. He, she, they, them. To be ready.
Them.
Okay. Bring lots of towels and umbrellas. I don't know what to tell y'all. But anyway, I'm in a really, really beautiful,
We'd be excited.
beautiful space right now. I will deal with what I will deal with. I will help where I can help. And if I can't, then I won't. And life goes on. So I'm really excited for where I am. So
That's dope.
Can I say something really quickly to that?
Mm-hmm.
The other day, you and I hadn't talked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, we finally connected. We had been like phone tagging for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you called and I answered. I don't know how that went. We spoke and I said, how are you doing? Mind you, she knew how I was doing because, I had just kind of blurted it out in our group chat. And I said, how are you doing? And she was like, I'm great. So the look on your face, right? And so that's what I felt in my heart. I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. Like, A is awesome. B, how can I find some? Can I spray it on my body? Can I shower in it or bathe in it?
Primordial. What is it? What we was
Primarily. She had it primarily glistening all over her body, right?
It's a disease.
Girl, and I was like, this is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have very many conversations with people that are right now and as of late that genuinely come from a place of like, damn, I'm feeling good. Like, I'm good. All is well in the universe. And the universe is conspiring to give you exactly what you need.
What I need and desire.
And
Absolutely.
desire. Absolutely. And that felt so good. And in that moment, I was like, dang, if that felt so good,
felt it.
If I felt her great, right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? It just made me think about what am I doing in the opposite whenever I say I'm feeling like shit, y'all. This is the struggle that I'm going through and the drama that I'm dealing with and blah, 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 blah. That energy transfers in the same way her great did. And it really just made me have to take pause like, okay, it's a lot of stuff that I need to deal with on my own. It's a lot of stuff that I can tackle on my own. I don't want to be, and I need to be more cognizant of that transference of energy onto other people.
It's funny that you mentioned that because somebody had contacted me and they were like, reach out to Yaya. She's not in a good space. I said, I'm well aware and I'm not in a space to help her right now. And it's no dig at you. No. I was just like, I'm good. And it's just the energy that I can't put in my glass in this moment. I was like, I'm going to do everything in my power that I can without allowing it to be dumped onto me.
You did just that. So it was beautiful what she did. I didn't even know the day that she came by and brought some chicken she wasn't using. And then also she had pressed some juice and that juice was fire. It was beets, and you all know I love beets. Like, oh my God. Okay, but it was beet juice and it's different than the actual beet. So, okay. So beet juice, ginger, lime, and apple. I made a whole, anyway, Rain and Gemini. I made a whole, like, it was a ceremony for me. I got a nice wine glass. I poured exactly half in there because I didn't want to drink the whole thing. And I sat there and I sipped that juice with my eyes closed, and it was so, so, so good, right? But I did not know she had sent me a message in WhatsApp prior to that. She said that she was coming over, and I got that message. What I didn't get was a video that she sent me. And when I tell you, I sabobbited. I was in tears. I was in freaking tears. And we didn't need to communicate for that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, she didn't have to call me and listen to the drama. She didn't have to do any of that. She sent this video like, I'm gonna love you from a distance since you got this. And that was just as powerful, if not more powerful, than somebody sitting listening to me crying on the phone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm grateful for that.
One thing I do appreciate about the two of you, I don't do it, but I should. When you call, if you have something negative to say, you always say, how's your mental space? Like, can you handle what I'm about to dump on you? I can appreciate that from you.
Yeah, because you could be in a bad space. And if I don't ask that, most friends aren't going to be like, girl, I can't. Because most people just aren't going to do that. I will.
Yeah.
In this space I am in now, I will. But most people just aren't going to do that. And I respect y'all and what you do and the dopeness that you are to not just be like, I need to get it off my chest. And so
fuck what you dealing with.
Deal with this. Yeah. That's not right. So
yeah. I was watching somebody's live on Instagram the other day, and the guy was talking about how he just basically had to disassociate himself from quite a few people. And it was for that very reason. They didn't understand that he was not going to sit and tolerate that type of speech around him because he was that protective of his energy. I haven't gotten there yet, but he seemed like he was in a beautiful space.
Yeah, I was talking to Kenya maybe a week ago, and I was just like, I don't have anything negative to say anymore. Like, it's just like, I will listen and I'll be like, damn, that's fucked up, B. Okay, so what are we going to do about it?
Right. Moving along.
What's next? What's the plan? What's the action? How are we moving forward? Because this is where we are, but clearly this is not where we like to be. We're not happy here. So what's next? Right? I was talking to my cousin Kathy. She said when people call to complain or gripe or whatever, she said, I give them 15 minutes. And she said, oh, you're 15 minutes. You got 13 minutes left. Like whatever that is, you know? So, and I think like if we get in that space, again, I told you I was thriving off of drama. Like it felt this
like
is home. It's gonna sound fucked up, right? But it felt good to see other people struggling.
You right. It sounds fucked up.
Because it didn't make my struggle seem
like, oh, that's
so alone. Like you weren't so alone struggling.
Yes. Like, okay, this feels good because I ain't the only one.
I ain't that fucked up, but
yeah, going through it. I mean, and it's, I don't know, maybe.
Well, the other thing is like when you are raised in that and when you are raised in confusion and in trauma and all of these things, that feels familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to make a conscious decision to for a different feeling to
well, we
come
call
into
it
play.
trauma bonding.
Yep.
I was bonding with you. That's why it felt good through your trauma. And yeah, so now I'm really trying to be cognizant about, I'm not trying to dump, you know, whatever situation I'm in, I'm not the fucking victim.
Mm-hmm. You are the apprentice.
You're the co-creator.
Yep.
I co-created that. So I'm complaining about baby daddy issues. You chose that nigga.
Did.
And again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
And you keep choosing them. Every time you decide not to, you stay, you leave, you don't go. You know, I'm complaining about car issues. That's the car you chose to buy. I'm complaining about my job. You chose to get up and go to work
and continue to choose.
The only thing I don't control is the weather. It's cold out here. You chose not to wear a goddamn coat.
But then also you choose where you live. And if you like sunshine, move your to the sunshiny state.
Yep. So, you know, like not being the victim and realizing like in my head saying, okay, you don't like this, that, or the other. What are you going to do about it?
And I think that with our friendship, that's how it's always been. We talk and it's like, okay, so what you going to do? What's next?
What's the move?
Yeah, what's next? And sometimes the answer I receive is, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool.
But even in receiving those, having that personal conversation, like, I don't know. I really don't know what the move is.
Helping you figure it out.
Yep.
For sure. So a couple days ago, everybody knows I'm single, ready to mingle, but it's difficult. And when you're surrounded with people who are in relationships, healthy or not, they're in a relationship. So you go to work, you come home, you by yourself, on and on and on. It gets to you at some point, especially if you're the type of person who wants to be in a relationship.
So talk about yourself, right? You say it gets to you. It gets to me.
It gets to me.
Right.
Right. It gets to me because I do want to be in a relationship. I am that chick. So I have to recenter myself. And the only reason why I have the knowledge to recenter myself was because a couple months ago, or several months ago, we went on a spiritual journey as sisters. And there was a lot of things that I learned. One being, I create my reality. And so if I create my reality and I create what I think, what am I going to do to change that thinking process? Right. So once I got into that mental space, I usually go silent, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did. But then now I have the tools to get myself out of it instead of calling any of you guys and dumping and crying and not know how to get out of it.
Which is still okay. That's fine to do that.
But you got 5 minutes.
5 minutes, dang.
I'm saying.
At this point.
I'm like, I won't put you on the time limit, but I ain't gonna be able to hear half of what you say because it's loud at my house.
All of us, we're cognizant of each other's situation. Can you talk? Yes or no? That's usually my thing.
She likes to talk around 3:00 in the morning.
Right.
I do too.
What's your point? people have problems at 3 in the morning.
I'm just FYI.
They sure do. And I'm up and available.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know who to call when you up it. Me, 7:30.
Sending messages. Get off my phone.
But yeah, so it's like, everyone has their own way of checking if you're in the mental state to have a conversation. Mine is, so can you talk? Yes or no? Okay.
Right.
But that's respecting each other's boundaries as well.
Absolutely. It feels good. It feels good to be this age. Well, it doesn't feel good to be this age and just now sitting around this, but it feels good to be at this age and stage where I'm like, you know what? I don't like that.
And
I
you
don't
can
have to
say
do it.
that.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's a hard line.
Yes. That's not gonna work for me. Lying.
So you know where I learned that? And this is weird, but when I was younger, I used to eat ketchup, right? But I realized,
you don't like condiments now?
No, I'll tell you what happened. So I was always dipping my food in ketchup, but I realized I was only putting ketchup on things that I didn't like. And so I was like, why not just not eat things that I don't like? And so that's why I don't eat ketchup, because I don't eat the things that I don't like. So if I'm eating it, it's because I like it, and I don't need to drown it in, other stuff, right?
To make it palatable.
Right. And so that's where I just started to learn, like, you don't have to do these things you don't like. I stopped eating sweet potato pie. I don't like this. Why am I eating it? So
did you put ketchup on it?
No.
I wasn't going to accept that in my spirit, even if she would have said yes.
No.
Yeah, no, but that's interesting. And I agree. Also, she's raising that the older I've gotten, I've definitely been able to be more verbal about the things that aren't going to work for me.
That's why the more mature people, I'm not going to say older, but more mature, they just get to a point where they just say whatever they want to say. We know, we've seen them.
They're older. It's fine. You grow older, you die. Back to life.
You go out the same way you came in, like a child. Children say what they want to say too. Trust me, I know.
One time adult, twice a child.
Is it?
With diapers, leaving diapers.
I ain't wearing no diapers.
Final thoughts. Obviously, the topic of mental strength and mental health is very broad. I believe that we can all agree that it's something that is an active, intentional process that you need to stay on top of, that we all need to stay on top of. If that's surrounding yourself with people that are going to hold you accountable, if it's going to surround yourself with people that are going to have a listening ear, but then also have a clear amount of time that you can spend wallowing in your shit, or feel what you feel, but then also have a plan of action, be it talk therapy, exercising, practicing gratitude, because that is huge. That is something that, if we think about it, our situation may not be as bad as we think it is if we look at the things that we are grateful to have. And that's something that, in the midst of the drama, trauma, and storm that I've been in lately, I have been able to focus on the things that I've been blessed with. And that on some days when I am unable to get out of bed has really helped me to get up and simply do the things for myself that are necessary for me to survive on a daily basis, like brush my teeth or eat when it's hard. And it has been that hard, but I'm okay today. And I'm claiming that I'm going to be okay tomorrow as well.
That's it for today's episode. Join us here next week at 7 p.m. Central for more conversations and edutainment.
You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. We'd be honored to read your reviews.
Please make sure to follow, like, share, and comment on all of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Krāv. That's Krāv, the podcast.
Got a question, comment, subject, idea, or Black-owned business you'd like us to highlight? Email us at Krāv, that's Krāv, the podcast, at gmail.com. Until next time, y'all, love, light, peace.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and is intended for audiences 18 and older. Opinions expressed during our recordings are ours and ours alone and are not a reflection of any businesses, employers, or other individuals we may be associated with. Please consult professionals before following any advice you hear on this podcast. Thanks for listening.